we're learning this incredible paragraph of Salem. The words are so easy, but Rabbi Nachman writes a whole teaching about it. So just to sum up, we're in Kuf Chavav 126, and basically the whole lesson we're basing on is singing to Hashem. And singing praises to Hashem and singing gratitude to Hashem with every bit of energy that we have, with every situation that we have in our life, whatever the situation is, using it as a jump start to sing to Hashem. And in fact, for those of you who want to listen, I gave a share on yesterday, about why the power of speech this week is so powerful, this week, next week. So if you want, I'll ask Rebbetzin Silber to send you the link. It's on my links, or I didn't send it out yet. I'll send it out, Belinda. So it's a very big thing to talk about, the power of speech. Now, Rabbi Nachman, so just to sum up, he says, I will sing to God with my ode. Ode means with the good point that's inside of me. And Rabbi Nachman continues and says, and the language that's used is in Likutei Moharan, V'hizhira beinu zal. Our Rabbi Nachman warned us. He sharply warned us and he said that it's very, very important to keep practicing this task, to get into the habit of not allowing the Yetzer Hara to make us sad, of not allowing the Yetzer Hara to let us beat ourselves up, but always be focusing on the good points that we have, so that it keeps us energized. We know that once a day we say Vidui, right? Once a day in Shmona Esrei we say Slach Lanu. If you say after Shmona Esrei, you say Vidui V'Hashamnus. Once a day, or maybe twice a day by Mincha, a person's allowed to feel the pain of the mistakes that we've made, and only for a minute, and then let go of it. Rabbi Nachman says, I'm telling you, it's true. All of us do some things that are wrong. All of us are imperfect, but the Yetzer Hara will take a holy Jew like us. We're all very holy. I know that you think that you're regular. No, you're an incredible woman. You're listening to Torah Shiurim. Like, what is that? It's not, if you are in the like 0.00001% of the universe that's doing this, especially those of you who have little kids. Like, you finally have a minute to sit down quietly and you sit down to listen to a shir. You don't realize how holy we are. So
I just saw, I'm sorry, I don't know if you noticed, Rebbetzin Silber, but you really made Yehudit very, very, very happy.
I saw. It's okay. Don't get off. Don't take off your face. But anyway, thank you. I'm sure we made everybody happy. It's true. You know what makes a person happy is only MS. You can do whatever you want in the kitchen. It's fine. Anyway, so the only one who doesn't show their kitchen is not allowed to show their kitchen during the shir is me, because I'm also in the middle of my kitchen. But then I walk out of the kitchen and no one sees what's going on there, and I sit behind in my Baruch Hashem. So Rabbi Nachman says like this. It says in the Zohar that when a person gains the Yetzer Hara, a person who like us, who's really trying, we are on God's side. When we get a Yetzer Hara, it's not about doing a crime. It's about getting depressed. That's when our Yetzer Hara hits us in sadness, loneliness, depression, feeling the negative. That's where we get it. As soon as you feel that, you have to immediately label it and say, this feeling is not pure. It's not helping me. It's a Yetzer Hara to weaken me. Rabbi Nachman says, V'hizhira beinu, he warns us so much, run away from that thought. If you say you're imperfect, say, Hashem, I am indeed imperfect. You know that, I'll tell you something interesting. Yesterday, in the 3 weeks, so people go through stuff. And, people go through stuff. So Hashem woke me up in the middle of the night. When Hashem wakes me up in the middle of the night, so if you're a regular person over the age of 50, and you get woken up in the middle of the night, and you're secular, you'll say like, oh, it's age, right? Like whatever. But when Hashem wakes up a frum person in the middle of the night, and they can't get back to sleep again, and they know that they need to because soon they have to get up. So Hashem is telling us there's a special task for you to do. So Hashem woke me up in the middle of the night, and I'm trying to think, and I tried so hard to go back to sleep again because I was whatever, I needed to, but it didn't work. So what I do, I said to myself, all the thoughts of the day start flying in your head. And yesterday was a hard day for a lot of people that I know. So I turned on the Shir of the Yanuka. You know, I love the Yanuka. We've shared his teachings. Now his wife gave a beautiful shir. I'm going to send it, Belina, and to Rebbetzin Silber. Yeah, I'm going to send it. It's in Hebrew, but it's in beautiful Hebrew. I'm going to send it to Rebbetzin Silber. She's going to send it out to all the people that she thinks it's shayach for. And you can subscribe to her, to that channel. It's only for women. So please, they're very, very particular. Please don't share this with anyone, only a woman who you tell her this is only for women. You know how that is. Like, we'll share with our good friend and we forgot to say, by the way, this is for women only. Please. I don't want to get into trouble with God. And I know that the Rabbani, who's a sweetheart of a person, is very careful, very, very careful to send it out only to women. So I'll send her Rebbetzin Silber, and she will send it out with a very big disclaimer. Women only. Immediately erase it when you finish listening to it. Even just listening to her voice. She has the same voice as her husband. They should both be well. They have the most beautiful, calm voices. Anyway, the Yanuka said in the shir that I just opened, I just pushed a button. My YouTube, my whole list of YouTube, Baruch Hashem, YouTube has they stopped trying to corrupt me. Because, when you go on YouTube, then they send you on the side all these different shiurim. Yeah, they try to corrupt you. My YouTube is so full of only shiurim that I never, Baruch Hashem, they never send me any more Goyish stuff because there's no room on it, because everything I ever touch is a shir. So Baruch Hashem, I'm able to open the YouTube. And I opened to the first year that was on his, his students put up. And the Rab says like this. He says, whatever is going on in your life, you should know it's a message from Hashem saying, I want you to take that exact problem that you have and expand it and think about davening for the whole Jewish people, whoever else has this problem, and actually davening for Hashem, so to speak, for the Shekhinah, so to speak, who has that problem. Because he said, every chisaron in a Jew is a reflection of the imperfection of the residence of God in this world. If a person is not doing well, it's because Hashem's presence isn't manifesting in the world. If a person is feeling sad, it's because Hashem kivayachol, if we could even say such a silly thing, but just to get it into words that we understand, Hashem is feeling sad because his kids don't talk to him. Who talks to him? Us. We're his beloveds. But he also has 8 billion other kids, and none of them are talking to him. And most of them are rebelling against him, and it hurts him. So that's what I heard in the middle of the night. To take whatever pain a person's going through and use it as a prayer, as a jump start for a prayer, And if you hear people, so yesterday I had a lot of people complaining to me and crying to me. So I had all their stories in my head. And I used it and I said, Hashem, this is what's missing from the Jewish people, and that's what's missing. And we need you to bring Mashiach already. People are lonely for you. People think they're lonely for whatever. They're lonely for you and you're lonely for us. So just fix it. Like, you can do it. Anyway. So Rabbi Nachman says, don't allow your Yetzer Hara to get through to you. Now, because Sharon was telling us that all these yeshiva boys she's hosting, so I'm just going to say the next paragraph, which I wasn't going to say. Rabbi Nachman says, in every generation, there's the head tzaddik, who is an aspect of Moshe Rabbeinu. And then there are the lower tzaddikim. And every tzaddik is in charge of, he calls them children, the neshamas of all the yeshiva boys and all the students and all the children. Every tzaddik has like a whole flock of people that his soul root is somehow bound to. And so, and then the big tzaddik of the generation is bound to all the other smaller tzaddikim, and that's how all the tzaddikim, that's how all the souls of the Jewish people are nourished. So all the yeshiva boys, and all the yeshiva girls, and all the children, and all of us, because really we are also children. Each of us has a tzaddik that we are bound to in the level of soul. And when that tzaddik in his own right begins to think positively, it affects us. Now, you're going to say, okay, that's nice, but we're going to learn together that you also have souls that are underneath you and that are connected to you and that are looking up to you and that you are supporting. You might say, well, I'm not a tzaddik. Okay. But there's gradations, there are levels in the Jewish people, and we're all intertwined, we're all bound together. So when you work on yourself and pull yourself out of a mindset that's not helpful, you're schlepping up with you like a magnet all the neshamas that are connected to you, that are somehow in a lower level, and we don't know how to measure those kinds of things, but you're helping them. So don't just pull yourself out of a sad mood for yourself, but do it for all the people who are dependent on you. And you're going to say, nobody depends on me. Hi, Sarah. Nobody could. We hear Sarah. You have to mute yourself, sweetie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sarah Lee, you're not muted.
It's okay. She has her hands full with the baby, so maybe you got good. So you might say, I'm nobody to, I'm not, who am I? I certainly don't have people underneath me. The answer is, that's not true. You do have people, you just don't realize it. And it's because your Yetzer Hara tells you that you're not good enough, that you think that you don't, right? But you push yourself. Sometimes it says, Rabbi Yaakov Yashachtim, who's a big tzaddik here, says, sometimes Hashem makes crazy things happen in your life. He makes it hot in London. He makes it unbearable weather. And you get drenched from exhaustion and from crummy, you're not in a good mood. And then you pull yourself out of it. Sometimes Hashem does this because you're okay. You're doing well. But there's someone in your soul group who's not doing well. And you can pull that person up. You see, the person in your soul group, because there's levels, the person in your soul group, if your higher tzaddik, if the higher tzaddik is in a good mood and he works himself, the person's such a low level that they don't even feel the vibration of the higher level tzaddik. But they feel your vibration because you're a little bit above them. So sometimes Hashem makes you feel bad. On whatever level, something happens, your kids don't call you. This one insults you. This one, whatever happens, we all know what life is all about. And you feel something, and you say, but I'm going to do what I'm learning in Tehillim. I'm going to look at my good points. I'm going to look at the good things in my life. I'm going to look at all the mitzvahs that I do. I'm going to look at my bank account. My bank account has trillions upon trillions of mitzvahs. I'm going to focus on that. And when you focus on that, it soothes a little bit the bad mood that you're in. It takes the edge off of it. And meanwhile, you might have just saved somebody from committing chas v'shalom, hurting themselves. You don't know. Only when Mashiach comes, you have to be Yudalia. Only when Mashiach comes are you going to know what the tremendous merit you got for just, you thought you're
Giles, you're unmuted. Sorry, I can't do it. She hasn't made me host.
I'm sorry.
So you think you're in a bad mood and you're putting yourself down. Hashem says, I put you in that bad mood so you can help so-and-so who's in a worse mood and has no idea about this teaching and has no idea about Tehillim or doesn't have the spiritual wherewithal to pull themselves out. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. And in every generation, we have the highest level tzaddikim, and he calls that the Moshe Rabbeinu of every generation. Now we're going back into Tehillim, into 146. And Rabbi Nachman says something very fascinating. So we're going to... Sorry, Naomi, something's wrong with you. Okay, good. Now she's muted. Al tiftuchu b'nezivim. Now we're going to hear something that's so shocking. Here we just talked about how we can influence one the other. That means that at a certain level, we also feel that we need someone else. We need other people. So it's okay, sweetie. We need other people. So we're on 146, Parak 146. I don't know what pasuk. Aleph, Beis, maybe Gimel. Because I'm reading it for myself. Al tiftuchu v'nezivim. David HaMelech is telling us that. Don't rely on people. Now, the word nezivim doesn't just mean people. It means good people, generous people, successful people, princes, princesses. And we don't mean in the royal family of where you guys live. We mean the holy nezivim. Don't rely on them. Don't think that they're going to do their work, your spiritual work for you. So on one hand, we have to juggle these two things. We have to be very generous with ourselves and our own avodas Hashem. We have to be generous and say, I will help anyone that comes to me. And I will even help people that don't come to me by my being in a bad mood, by my focusing on my good points. I'm sharing my spirituality. And by the way, that does not diminish our spirituality. It doesn't diminish your reward. It doesn't diminish anything. It just shares it. Like fire can be shared one with the other. It doesn't diminish. So when it comes to my being generous with my spiritual power, I'm here to help everybody. But when it comes to myself doing my own work, Hashem says, you know what? I want you to work. Don't trust, don't lean on somebody else. You have to work on your own. Now that doesn't mean we shouldn't ask questions of our tzaddikim. Of course we should. It doesn't mean we shouldn't venerate and respect and love our tzaddikim. Of course we should. But Hashem says through David HaMelech, that the work the power that the spiritual power that you generate, when you work it on your own, is stronger than if you're sitting and receiving from a tzaddik. Meaning, that's why, ladies, I want to teach you forever, but I also want you, I give you rules about how you should do Tehillim on your own. And you should, right, a little bit learn on your own, not to depend. Even on me, I love you so much, and I want to do this forever, but don't depend. You have to learn how to learn on your own. And Baruch Hashem, we have Sarim now. And I don't mean listening to a shir, and I don't want to take away the shir, but I'm saying in addition to this, sit down, even for 5 minutes a day. Learn something on your own. First, learn it if you can learn it in Hebrew. Just read a pasuk, read the English, think about it a little bit. So, they say about the Lubavitch Rebbe, one of my friends was actually there when he said this. At a certain point, at the end of his life, I think a few years, maybe a year, I'm not, Chabad, they know the dates by heart. If anybody's Chabad here, so forgive me. And they know like every date, like when he said this sicha, when he said this statement, when he said that statement. I forgot already how long it was before he left us. But he said in public, I did everything that I could do, he said. Now it's up to you. You have to do this. You have to bring Mashiach. You have to bring the Geula, the redemption. You have to believe in yourselves. You have to believe in the power of your souls. He said this to a group of women when it was the dollars, when it was people came for dollars on a Sunday. One of my friends was in that room. And then he said it publicly at I think a gathering of, I forgot what it was, but he said it publicly at least twice, at least if I'm not mistaken. So any Chabad person here could send me an email and give me all the details. But he said, I did everything. I maxed out my credit card with God, said Lubavitch Rebbe. I did everything I could. Now it's up to you. And the truth is that when he took on the leadership role, the first time that he spoke as a Rebbe, because remember that when his father-in-law passed, he waited 1 full year until to assume the rulership, the leadership of Chabad, and people pressured him, let's go, but he waited 1 full year, and on the anniversary of the passing of the previous Rebbe is when he assumed the leadership. And in that speech, he also said, don't think I'm going to do the work for you. Each person has to do their own spiritual work, not because the Rebbe isn't generous, but because the spiritual work that we achieve on our own is much more delicious. It's much stronger. It's much more long lasting than if we're just picked up by tzaddikim. For sure, we need to be picked up by tzaddikim because we can't do it. But there's only a limit to what we can do. But so on a certain level, this is talking about spirituality. On a second level, it's really talking about the physical world that we're in, the world of practicality. Al tiftuchu b'nedivim means don't rely on people. Don't think that people are going to, beven adam, any person, she'ena teshua. Why? Because because the person might leave this world. He dies. And at that day that the person dies with all of their good intentions and all of their good desire to help you and all of their everything, but then they leave. Then what? Sometimes, when a woman is left on her own, she's been dependent on her husband and he passes, and then she's left on her own. Sometimes it's very, very hard because they were so interconnected, but also a little bit dependent. So my mother, she should rest in peace, and my father, he should rest in peace. My parents were a wonderful couple, but my father did everything. My mother was a wonderful wife, mother, housewife, and she worked, but my father really did a lot, did everything basically in the finances. And he passed very, very young. He was only 68. My mother was 64. And all of a sudden, right? So everyone, all of my uncles and aunts from both sides of the family said she has to come live with you, take care of your mother. And I knew that wasn't the right way. My mother took care, she proudly learned how to become independent. I think for 29 years, she had to learn. And she outlived my father. And you know what? It was hard for her, but she was so proud of every little achievement that she did. It was not easy. Now that's in the world of Gashmias, certainly in the world of Ruchnias, but also in the world of Gashmias, certainly in the world of spirituality, but also in the world of physicality. Don't place your hope in people. Don't think, here we are politically. It's a very big politically, right? Israelis, religious Israelis, we all have to say, we cannot put our hope in the government. Such a terrible thing happened yesterday that I will not even talk about it. It was in terms of how the government turned on us, on the regular good citizens. I don't even want to talk about it. It's not since Gush Katif has such a horrifying day happened since yesterday. So we can't rely on anybody. We cannot rely on government, even the religious government people, even if they're wearing yarmulkes and even if they're trying hard. You can't rely on that because we see what's in the world. Hashem is showing us what your guide, right? What did he do? They kicked him out, the prime minister of your country, or he resigned, right? How many different people are resigning now, or being kicked out, or being exposed for their corruption, one after the other. And how many rulers are absolutely ruthless? And how many of them are brainless? And how many of them are being hidden behind the scenes? Yeah, I see the choice here. It's okay. Look what they chose in America, right? It's crazy. Hashem is sitting and laughing. He wants us to laugh like you're laughing now and saying, we can't trust anybody, only Hashem and Hashem's Melech. Hashem's, the king that Hashem anoints, it's going to be Mashiach. That's who we'll be able to look up to because he's getting directly from Hashem. Now look at even the Jewish people. Moshe Rabbeinu had a hard time. We have to learn our lesson. When Mashiach comes, we can't mess up like we did in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. We be makabel. Okay, well, he's going to have to go through many, many stages of being accepted. But so David HaMelech is saying, Al tiftachu b'nedivim. Again, the simple words. Don't rely. The word livtach means to rely, to totally rely, to lean on. Even generous people, and with people who really have no, independence, because every one of us is mortal. Every one of us is mortal. I remember years and years ago, the principal that when I lived in America and I worked in a beautiful school, and the principal of that school, who's a very, very special person, he once said publicly in a teacher's meeting, and it horrified me because he was very blunt and direct. He said, no one is irreplaceable. What I mean is in the workforce. I don't mean, let's say, in the family. Nebuch, his wife passed away and he never remarried because she was irreplaceable to him. But in terms of our, don't take yourself so seriously that you think that you're the greatest in the world and everyone needs you. And by the way, another reason why you're allowed to every once in a while take your phone off the hook is because don't take yourself so seriously. The world will survive if you need to take a nap. People who are in the helping field have to know that. They have to sometimes, I think I'm going to tell a few of you, because I know that some of you are, you're giving over to Klal Yisrael. Every once in a while, you have to take the phone off, close the phone. Baruch Hashem, we have Shabbos, but then you have Shabbos guests that you have. You have to know that every once in a while, the world will survive without you for a few minutes when you go to recharge yourself. That's why, by the way, we sometimes have to take a couple of, a little bit of a break from teaching, because every one of us who's in the world of teaching knows this. The funny thing is that in Neve Yerushalayim, they should all be blessed and well. They never take a break. They go straight through because people are coming and going all the time. But they allow us stuff. They said, okay, we have to stagger our days off, but you have to know, you have to come up for a breather. You have to come back to yourself. So, take everyone with a grain of salt, even the people that you look up to, take with a grain of salt. Because when his ruach leaves him and he dies, everybody in the past got buried in the ground. On that day, all of his plans, all of his good advice and good intentions disappear because he's not there anymore. So don't be so worried. As long as you and God are on the same page, that has to be. You can't let go of God. So the next passage says, Ashrei Shekel Yaakov be'Ezra. Instead of relying on people, make sure that you rely on God. Ashrei, that's that first word in Tehillim. And the first word that we know by heart, of this famous Tehillim that we say every day, Ashrei, Ashrei Metzach. Ashrei means two things. It means how fortunate, and it also means, like Rav Hirsch tries to say, the word Ashrei is the kind of feeling that pushes you forward. It's a constructive energy. Ashrei means you're so lucky because you're going to move forward from this. What? From what? Ashrei Shekel Yaakov be'Ezra. You're lucky and you'll make progress in life if Hashem is the one who's helping you. Now, of course, Hashem is helping us. We know that. And we also know that people are Hashem's agents. But the trick here is when you get a challenge, who do you turn to first? A human or God? That's the test. And all of us, sometimes we forget to instantaneously turn to Hashem. We, by nature, the nature of, I forgot to send that to share today. The nature of the nature of Rebbetzin Silber. You have to send me every week a WhatsApp so I can remember to send it out to all my people. I forget before the Thursday. I'll remind you to remind me to remind you. So the nature of people is that we right away like, oh no, I got to call my accountant. I have to call my mom. I have to call my husband. I have to call the kids. Like something challenges you and you right away pick up the phone. Or you go to Google to try to figure out how to solve it or whatever. It's important that we do that also, but secondary. First, call out to God. First, and train ourselves. It's a lifelong training. To first talk to Hashem. And then, make whatever hishtadlus you have to make. But Ashrei Shekel Yaakov Yisrael, Sivro al Hashem Elokav, that we're relying on, that we're drawing from, we're drawing the energy from, we're throwing ourselves at the mercy of Hashem. So that when we say this every single day, what we're doing, and it's in davening. So we're saying this every single day, we are actually reinforcing this this concept of letting go of relying on people and hoping that people will help you and just relying on Hashem. I think I said the wrong number. This is 146. I don't remember if I said 136. Anyway, this is pack 146. You know that we want our kids to be independent of us, and at the same time, we don't like when they're independent of us. We get like all teary-eyed when they actually are independent. So Hashem wants us to be independent of crutches. When I say a crutch, I mean, like whatever it is that a person runs to. Some people run to food when they feel stressed. Some people run to the people in their life. In other words, they reach out. Nothing wrong with either of those things, as long as it doesn't become the only thing that you do, and as long as it doesn't become an addiction. So let's say you have a hard time reaching out to God. Let's say you do call your mom right away, or you call your friend, or you call your whoever, or you right away, start figuring it out in your own head. How can I fix this? And you want to segue into, I want to turn to God first. Then say this pasuk of Tehillim, or say the parak. That's why our rabbis mandate, one of the many reasons our rabbis mandated this parak into the siddur is because this is a daily exercise. This is mamash, a daily exercise, because every day Hashem sends new challenges. And what I managed to fix yesterday, okay, let's say I had yesterday a challenge in one area of my life, and I really instantaneously turn to God. And then Hashem says, okay, you did that well. Next, I'll give you a different challenge in a different area of your life. And practice turning to me for that. Because maybe certain areas of our life we're capable and we really trust ourselves too much. We shouldn't ever think, kochi va'otzem yadi. We shouldn't ever think that it's us doing anything. It's all Hashem doing everything. And even though Hashem allows us to think that we're doing something, and it makes us feel accomplished, but really, Hashem is doing everything. And that's a hard thing. Rabbi Nachman says that concept is too hard for us to wrap our head around. How can it be that I have free choice, and I'm doing effort, and I see my effort is bearing fruit and is working, and yet my free choice and my effort have nothing to do with the result? Hashem just brought it into my life. How does that work? Rabbi Nachman says that our head can't wrap ourselves. We don't yet have the other piece of the vital information of how the world works. We don't have that information yet. There's a piece missing. Sometimes when you study, if you study if you listen to, sometimes there's a piece missing. There's a piece missing that once that piece is supplied to us, we'll say, oh, that now I get it. But there's a piece of information that's missing in our database of how our life is run, how God does everything. So we have to Ashrei Shekel Yaakov Be'ezra Sivra El Hashem Elokav. Say it every day with such kavana, because it will help you to trust God, to expect God to help you, to expect God to put your expectations into God. I told you once when I lived in America, so I used to go, in America, the finances were different. Baruch Hashem, here I have everything and everything. But in America, it's different. And so I used to go once a week to a chiropractor. He was like a reflex, like a jack of all trades, holistic healer. I would go once a week or once every 2 weeks just to keep balance. So, you were lying down on the treatment table, and so he has signs on his ceiling because you were lying down looking at the ceiling, right? So his sign, one of the signs on his ceiling was he had a sign that said, drink water, expect miracles. Expect miracles. Like that was what, when you're looking at that, because when you're getting a healing, so you're nice and relaxed. If you're getting acupuncture, the needles relax you, whatever. So you're looking up in the ceiling and it says, expect a miracle. That's what he said, expect a miracle. Expect a miracle. Meaning everything that happens is a miracle. You might say, we're not allowed to live like that. If your mindset is that everything that's happening is a miracle anyway, the fact is, I think I'm teaching you. Meanwhile, I don't know how Hashem is arranging this whole thing for you. So maybe this whole experience that we're having together with each other is one big miracle. But we think it's normal life. But really everything is God's intervention. What is a miracle? A miracle is a revealed intervention of God. And nature is a concealed intervention of God. So really everything is a miracle because everything is God's intervention. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. When we see it, we label it a miracle, but really it's the same thing. Hashem is always his intervention. So that this focus, this thought is a very, very healing, healthy, happy thought. It's a very releasing thought. It's a very freeing you from worrying thought. So have it, then you can go back to worrying afterwards, but just try to throw to Hashem your expectations a little bit. Why should we expect Hashem? So here the pasuk says, because Hashem is the creator of the heaven and the earth. The seas, everything that's in the sea. Hashem and Hashem is the one who guards truth eternally. What does it mean? It means that Hashem is something that we say also in davening. We say this in the later part of the davening. HaMechadesh, God is constantly renewing. HaMechadesh b'tuvo, b'chol yom tamid masav reishis. Every minute, every second, every split second, every nanosecond, Hashem is recreating creation. That means us. Every second is a new creation. That's why it says, Oseh Shamayim V'aretz. Hashem is creating right now heaven and earth. Not Asa, he created Shamayim V'aretz, but Oseh. This is a fundamental Judaism 101, fundamental belief in Judaism, that God is constantly renewing, recreating, redeciding every split second. Hashem is deciding to enliven us, to give us life, to let us live. Every breath that we take, as we said last week, every breath that we take is God kissing us and saying, you have another second of life. You have another second of life. And why do we have an out breath? To get rid of all of our sadness and scared and fear and negativity. And then Hashem kisses us again. He's all day long, every second he's kissing us. So we don't pay attention because we're so busy. But that's okay because we're busy doing his work. So he doesn't expect us to always be paying attention. It's like if you see when your kids come home from school and they sit down to the table, by the table and do their homework, and they're eating the snacks that you made for them. And they said, thanks, Ma. They said a thank you in the beginning, but then they forget to say, they're not going to say thank you by every snack, every grape, every bite, every cookie. But that's okay with you also, because you're happy that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So they said a thank you, and then they're getting on with their life. Hashem doesn't expect us to be like the heavy duty tzaddikim who they never take their minds off of God. Hashem doesn't expect that of us. But he wants every once in a while. So why should we trust him and rely on him and throw our expectations to him and expect him to intervene? Because he's intervening anyway. And he's every minute, Oseh, Shamayim Va'aretz. Every minute. I know we don't feel that because we see everything is same old, same old. We don't feel the recreation every second. We don't feel that Hashem is recreating our body every second. And he works within nature. So you can say to him, listen, Hashem, if you're recreating my body already, when you recreate me the next second, could you take away this wrinkle? Fill it in with something like, Hashem says, yeah, I could do that, but I usually don't do those kind of reveal. But there are people who meditate every single day. There are people who meditate every day on this thought, that if Hashem is recreating me every day, so today he's recreating me with healthy. Every cell in my body is healthy. Every cell in my body is working perfectly with every other cell in my body. All the negativity is getting flushed out of me completely. Whatever I eat is going to be nourishing and healthy for me. They meditate every day on this concept of, if I'm being recreated every day, then let me use my mind to say, how would I like God to recreate me? It's a very, very beautiful meditation. If you could do that on your own, it brings really a person to tears from gratefulness, from gratitude, of how we're so grateful to Hashem. You can do it anytime you walk out of the bathroom, after you use the bathroom, and you say the blessing, Asher Yatzar, and say it in English, or say your own version of it in English. Hashem, you just recreated me. You gathered all the toxins that were in my body, and you just flushed it out of my body. And now I'm clean and healthy and well and strong. So thank you for that. Et Hayam Kol Shabbat. Guess what? Today they close the beaches in Tel Aviv because there are sharks on the coast of Tel Aviv. Yeah. So they close the beaches. Et Hayam Hashem, the sea, the Mediterranean Sea, and all the seas. Bet Kol Shabbat, everything that's in the sea. And today's headlines: Tel Aviv beaches closed, sharks. Haifa beaches were closed yesterday, jellyfish. We always have jellyfish in the 3 weeks. It's the most remarkable thing. In my years here in Israel, I laugh about it. Because we're not supposed to go swimming in the 3 weeks. And some will make like a leniency, and they'll say, well, if you go swimming before the 3 weeks, you can go swimming during the 3 weeks, but not in the 9 days. But in the 3 weeks, there's some lenient. What does Hashem do every year, the 3 weeks? Jellyfish. Does anybody else have that in the world, that there's like a date in the Hebrew calendar when jellyfish come into their seas? I don't know. Every year I'm monitoring this. Why am I monitoring this? Because usually my grandchildren hear this. They come now. I'm having one soon come. But I know it's jellyfish. We're not going to go swimming. Not going to go near the beach. Not even going to go lie on the beach, because the jellyfish, they creep up to the beach. You think that they're plastic bags, and they're on the sand, and then they give you a little bit of a sniff, and you say like, what is that? Anyway. Hashem makes everything that's in the jellyfish. He makes sharks to come to the sharks are coming to the edge of the beach in Tel Aviv. They had to close down the beach so no one can go in the water. Why? Because it's for 3 weeks. Hashem says, Kindalach, I don't want you to go in the water and put yourself into a dangerous situation. I'm sending you sharks to Tel Aviv, and I'm sending you jellyfish to Haifa. And finally, Hashem emes la'olam. Hashem guards, he treasures truth forever. Now here I'm going to share with you something very remarkable. and I'm gonna. I hope it'll be I hope it'll be an inspiration for you to do this on your own, for you to find this on your own. And a few of you are gonna like it because it's personal for you. Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. What is look at those interesting words, Hashomer Emes La'olam, which really doesn't seem to fit in with this pasuk. It would really more fit in with the next pasuk. But this pasuk is talking about Hashem makes the heavens, He makes the earth, He makes the sea, He makes everything in it. There could have been a period there, and then the next phrases could have been redistributed. So it caught my attention. These words, Hashomer Emes La'olam, and look what it says there. What is the Rashi Tevos, the first letters of Hashomer Emes La'olam? Rearrange it to find a very precious name. What do you see? Yeah, that's right, Leah. There you go, Leah. And now look at the last letters of Hashomer Emes La'olam and rearrange those letters. And what names do you see there? It's a little bit of a harder one, maybe not such a popular biblical character, but who is it? No? Say it, you can unmute.
Tamar.
Tamar. So Tamar and Rashi Tevos, Leah, Sofei Tevos, Tamar. Now, let's look at the second letters of each of those three words. We're analyzing these three words. Hashomer Emet Le'olam. Hashomer Emes La'olam. The first letters, Hey, Aleph, and Lamed, spell out the name Leah. This is when you go back, when you read them backwards, right? Leah. And the last letters of those three words spell out the name Tamar. Now, what do the second letters spell out? Exactly. Shema, exactly. Shin, Ayin, spells out Shema, Shema Yisrael. And what is the second to the last letters? Because that's the only other thing that we can do here. Spells out a word that you might not know. Mem, lamed, mimalel. It means to speak, to daven. So look at all the incredible code that we can, with our own, you don't need a computer for this, you just need to notice it. That we have the two women who were the two of the first primary women who were Mashiach women, because Leah was the mother of Yehuda, and Tamar was the wife of Yehuda, and Yehuda is the ancestor of Mashiach ben David. So you had these two very, very remarkable women who did not have an easy time. Neither of them had an easy life. I'm sure that they were all day long practicing Rabbi Nachman's teaching of saying thank you to Hashem, looking at the positive, but if you just outline the events of these women's lives, not easy. Leah, she passed away very young. Tamar actually had a very, very long life, but Leah passed away very young. She passed away, some say, I think I read in Rav Kitto's Sefer, she passed away at age 42, because Rachel Imenu passed away at age 36. We don't realize that, how young those two passed away. Because Hashem needed them in heaven to storm the heavens to keep us alive.
I can't see Tamar. I'm so sorry. Can you just tell me again? I can't see Tamar. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll show you. The Hashomer ends with a resh, Emet ends with a tav, and Le'olam ends with a mem. So tav, mem, resh. When you rearrange those three letters, spells out Tamar. Now that's a type of Torah learning that's called gematria. It's called remez, hints, and the whole Torah, the whole Tanakh, and the whole Tehillim, which is of course within Tanakh, is replete, is overflowing with trillions of these kinds of codes. So what are the rules of codes? Because I want you to become scholars on your own. I want you to become independent. So here's one, independent Torah learners. So here's one rule. One rule is, if you see the begin letters in words that are consecutive words in Chumash or in, let's work with Tehillim, your eye might become attuned to looking for hidden messages, hidden codes, like we just saw in these 3 words. That means if a person's name is Leah, then she is embedded, her name is embedded in these 3 words. That means she also has to be Hashomer Emes Le'olam. She has to be a woman of truth. And if a person's name is Tamar, then her name is embedded in these 3 words. She has to be a woman of truth. And when we're saying Shema in the morning, we have to say it and know that Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, is truth. And when we're mimalel, when we speak in general, any kind of speech, we have to remember, we have to speak truth. Sometimes you can find your name in Tehillim. It's sometimes hard, but keep your eyes open. If you have an easy name, you can find your name in Rashi Tevos, which means beginning letters of words, ending letters of words. You could rearrange them, the letters, the words. You could do second letters like we just said for the Shema. We took 3 words that were next to each other in Tehillim, and we looked at the second letter of each word. And then we took these 3 words and we looked at the second to the last letter of each word. Sometimes if you have 3 words that have a middle letter, if they each have an odd number of letters, you have a middle letter. You can look at the middle letters of these words. So I think I gave you enough in this little last few minutes. You can sit now with a Tehillim forever and search for your name, search for your husband's name, your kids' names, search for words that will pop out of you. Ask Hashem to show you and write it down and share it with people. It's work, but it's so much fun. So that's, I want to tell you something. It's, you could sometimes do this as a challenging game with people. Like, let's look at a parak of Tehillim. Take any parak of Tehillim and see if we can find any hints in the letters of the words, beginning letters, ending letters. Can you find God's name? Like, for example, the very famous pasuk in Tehillim, Yismachu hashamayim v'sagil haaretz. The heavens should rejoice, the earth should rejoice. The first letters of those 4 words, Yismachu hashamayim v'sagil haaretz, is Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. So you found Hashem hid himself in those 4 words. It means we have to be b'simcha. So what's the message? Once you find the word hidden, then what's the message there? See what the words say. That's why you know that when we say Ashrei, Ashrei Yoshev Yitzecha, Od Yahalu Chasela, right? So we know the pasuk Poteach et Yadecha, Maspia L'chol Chai Ratzon, that pasuk, the first letters of Poteach et Yadecha, Pei Aleph Yud, is one of God's names. The last letters, Ches, Tav, and Chaf, is also one of God's names. The gematria of that is also one of God's names. There's like a whole something, like a lot of stuff going on in there with that pasuk. L'chol Chai Ratzon, the first letter spell out Rachel. I'm partial to that. As you know, that's my name. So find your name all over the Tehillim. Take one of your names. Rebbetzin Silber has an easy name, Yael. It's easy. Look where now. How are you going to look for your name? Of the letters. Let me give you a hint. So let's say we'll talk to Rebbetzin Silber. My name is Yael. So of the Yud and the Ayin and the Lamed, the Yud is a very common letter, and the Lamed is a very common letter, but the Ayin isn't so common. So whenever you say Tehillim, keep your eyes open for Ayins, because it's an uncommon letter, and then see if you could find a Yud and a Lamed close by. You could also do your initials. Let's say your name is Yael Bat Chana. I forgot your mother's name, but let's just say it's Yael Bat Chana. So then you have a Yud and a Ches, or a Yud and a Beis and a Ches. You can sometimes find. So there's so much in Tehillim. I'm telling you, Tehillim is exploding with codes, with these hidden codes, and I like it. So
I just found one.
Yeah, let's hear.
Well, it's actually in 2 different parts of the thing, because there's a comma. Yimloch Hashem Lo'olam. So, but the words Lo'olam Elohayich Tzion. So there's the second letters are Ayin, Lamed, and Yud.
Wow, there you go. That means you have to make Aliyah. I keep telling you that.
I'm working on it for 31 years.
Your people have to come, like, you know, you like they say, last Jew out, turn out the lights, you know, of the country. You're working the whole world.
I tell people that actually I really do live in Haranoff. It's just we're residing in England.
Temporarily hanging out.
Yeah.
That's what I used to all the time when people would ask me, where do you live? I said, I live in Eretz Yisrael, I live in Yerushalayim HaKodesh. They said, really, where? I said, well, I'm hanging out in America now, but I live in Kodesh. Okay, ladies, you all know that that Anita, our fabulous Anita, and our fabulous Sippy, and our fabulous Rebbetzin Silber have set up a YouTube channel for this shir. So you don't need to worry about anymore that you have to get a link to find the shir.
I'll send it out.
They put it on my name, it's cute name. So Rebbetzin Silber is going to send you a whole bunch of things. Listen to, I'm giving you homework. Send out the link to the Tzimtzum shir, and please share that link with everybody. Anybody can look. I like that everybody learns that. Then I'm going to send you, believe now, the shir of the Yanuka's wife. In Hebrew, you'll send it only to women, and you'll give them a warning that's only for women's ears only. Okay. What else was I supposed to send you? I think that's it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, and I'm going to send out the link for your YouTube channel. There we go.
Yeah, you're going to send the link to my YouTube channel, and I'm going to send you at the YouTube. Here, I just copied it. Let me do it now while I'm on the thing with you. Okay, here I'm sending you. And today's not the last. We're going to learn next week. That's our lesson. Now maybe we'll finish it next week. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so that's the link for the Rabbanit's, for her, the Yanuka's wife, and for women only. Captains. Okay, and then you'll send out to everybody also the link for the Tefillin. Okay, have a good Shabbos. Wait, let me say hi to everybody. Hi Dahlia, hi Shoshana, hi Katie, hi Sarla, hi Yehudit, hi Marcel, hi again Sharon, hi Joanne. If you come early, we get a chance to shul. Hi Naomi, hi Paula. Oh, now I see you put your face on. Hi Paula. Also on. Hi Sharon Abraham. I saw you also came early with a star. Hi Sheila Kaplan and Shoshana Kaplan. Are you guys related? And hi Zohar Hind, I see you just came on. You came on twice. And hi Mrs. Berman, I don't know who you are. And hi Mrs. Huff, I don't know who you are. And hi, good, you're popping off. Oh, there's Naomi, good, I see your face. It's good to see each other's faces every once in a while, right? Okay, good Shabbos everybody, stay safe.
Good Shabbos everybody, and thank you.